What's up? It's Kindergarten, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live Entertainment.
I just found out about you within the last couple weeks, like that. I heard your new stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
instantly like became a fan of yours.
Really?
Yeah, like I love your sound.
I love that.
Tell me a little bit about, you're a pop punk kid, you're a punk rock kid, like growing
Yeah.
up, and then tell me about creating Kindergarten. Like, how did you come about to creating the sound that you do?
So basically, I always loved listening to Nirvana and bands like that growing up. So I started out with making more hip hop, kind of rap type music, and I was doing it all by myself. I was kind of producing, doing the YouTube thing, and like all that. And then as I progressed as an artist, I started drawing more from my influences, like Nirvana, Sex Pistols, like all those type of bands I used to listen to growing up. And then I started to really move into more of an alternative style of music. And then once I got paired up with like a really good producer, one of my best friends, Bobby, we work on everything. He's going to be producing the next track and the whole EP that's coming up. And we just, we're sonically, like, we just know what to do, and he knows how to get the sound I want. And, it's good. It's really good.
Well, what was that like initial step for you trying to discover your sound? Because I feel like for any artist, like that's the hardest thing, creating your own lane and like figuring out who you are as an artist. So how did you kind of discover yourself?
It kind of just takes time. You got to really start putting in music and see what you're getting out of it, and like how you feel about it when you listen to your own music, and kind of a reaction from other people. It takes a lot, and I feel like the main thing is time. Like the longer you make music and the better you get, the more talented you become, then you really start to really discover who you are as an artist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you're about to release your next single, Blue and Gray.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is, first of all, you open up more on this track to your audience. But it's also more of your like rock and roll kind of side that we get to experience a little bit more. So, tell me about creating this track, and, how did you first get inspired to make it?
So basically I was kind of drawing back on I moved to LA about a year and a half ago, so I've been here for a while now. But before I moved out here, when I was living in Michigan, where I'm from, I was kind of going through some time in my life that was, I feel like everybody kind of goes through it at that kind of age. You're trying to figure out who you are, like what you're gonna do. You know, it's just the typical like coming of age type stuff, and it was a very hard time in my life, and I kind of just draw back on that. And when I first moved to LA, it was kind of tough, like figuring out like just when you move kind of across the country and you don't know anybody, it's kind of tough. So it's just a lot of just kind of drawing from a lot of life experiences and a lot of things I went through when I first moved here, and from like the past couple years in Michigan. So
So how were you able to open up to the world though? Because you touch on depression on the song, which is not an easy subject to talk about. So how are you able to feel comfortable, first of all, writing it down, and then second of all, recording it on a vocal booth?
I feel like it's kind of just as you become more of an art, as we were talking about earlier, like the more you know yourself as an artist, the more you want to like really put your message to the people, and the less scared, or not scared, more like you're more confident, like portraying your message the way that you want to. And that's kind of like my message is kind of just I'm telling my truth, like what I've been through in life, and like what I what type of music I used to listen to. Like I was a big Nirvana, like even when Peep too, like Lil Peep, and like all those type of artists, I really listened to them when I was going through those type of hardships in my life. So that's kind of like what I'm drawing from, Yeah.
Now you've been working with Bobby for some time now. Like, what is it about him? And is this also B-Works?
Yeah.
Okay, so same guy.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
What is it about him that the first time you guys worked together, you guys vibed, and you've been collaborating since?
Yeah. So basically, my current manager, when I met him, he brought me out to New York, and we kind of just agreed on he was gonna take care of me, and like we were gonna like move forward together. And he brought Bobby into the picture immediately. So he linked us up. We went to the studio, and we actually made 5 songs the first day I met him in our 6-hour block. Yeah, pretty crazy. And one of the songs, I think 2 of them actually made the initial EP. So from the first session we ever worked together, 2 of those songs made that original Insert Here EP. So yeah, and we just vibe together. Like he's one of my closest friends. Like he's a little older than me, so he can really like teach me. He's very wise when it comes to music and like just like what sounds good and stuff like that, and like he helps me deliver like my message and my what I want too, mixed with what he wants, kind of, like we're just very good at collaborating, compromising, all that kind of stuff creatively.
Now, how do you feel like he kind of challenged you, these times that you've been working in the studio with him, especially for this upcoming EP?
Yeah, he definitely, I would say he's pushing me harder when it comes to like vocal range, just melodies, like catching pockets on beats and songs. Like he's really pushing me not to slack or settle for anything. It's like, come on, we're gonna do this take over and over and over. We kind of go back and forth with like, all right, let's do it again until we get it perfect. And we don't like, if let's say it takes like, sometimes it takes what, a day or 2 or 3 to make a hit, and that's like the song that you really want to put out, or it can take a long time. There's been times where we make a song and we listen to it like 3 months later, and we'd be like, oh shit, what if we put this type of trap drum on it? Or like, what if we put this type of melody on it, and that'll like liven it up or slow it down. So that's kind of, I would say, just all types of ways he's been challenging me creatively and making me a better artist.
Now, when you're on your own, like writing music, like what is your creative process? Do you just sit here, enjoy the view and like start writing, or it's something that you never know when you're actually going to write music?
It's crazy because I try to set times to write music. I try, and like I actually have a calendar downstairs in my room, and I put blocks almost every day to write music for at least 2 hours, or just play guitar, play piano, do something musically every day. And in those times when I'm really trying to write, sometimes it can come to me, sometimes it might be a little more challenging. I might have writer's block, but there'll be moments where I'll just be, I remember I went on a family vacation, and I was like, I haven't seen my family in a couple months, and like we went to like I think we went to Miami. Yeah, I went to Miami with them, and I'm like by the pool with them, and like I just always listen to my own music in my headphones all the time, just because I like really listening and like challenging myself and like seeing if I can make it better. Like, yeah, exactly, and just learning from my own music. And I caught this flow in my head, and I was like, oh shit, like I gotta write this down, and like stuff comes to me like that. Sometimes it just comes at the most random times, and that might be the best thing you might want to use for a song. So it's kind of all over the place.
And like it's cool because like I mentioned earlier, like you're a new artist, and it seems like you just have a big team behind you. Like you have people that have been in the industry. I mean, Bobby's been working with Lil Wayne a lot in the past, so it's like you have people that have, put in their time in the music industry. So does that motivate you, or does that like kind of intimidate you at the same time?
I would say at first it might have been a little intimidating because it's like, oh, I got to really be able to carry my own weight. I got to be able to make these times and do these things, But over time, it becomes like a rhythm. And, like you start working with these people and you start dealing with these people, and it just becomes part of your life. And that's like kind of, that's what you know. So now I would say it's more of like a challenge thing. Like I'm up for any challenge. I'm down to do almost anything that they think is best for me or I think is best for myself. So I would say it's been good. It's been really good.
And talk to me a little bit more about this like kind of fusion of sound that you kind of created, because it's, it's got this like rocky / emo type of elements, but at the same time it has this, hip hop kind of vibe. So, like I feel like, I don't know, it just seems like you were at one time a scientist trying to, put these sounds together to see how it would like work for you. Like how difficult or how easy was it to kind of create that?
I would say it takes time. Like it took a lot of time to really find out what I wanted to do in addition to what I have currently. So I would say it's just experimenting with like instruments. Like the better I got at guitar and the better I got at playing the piano and the better I got at learning actual music theory and stuff like that, the easier that kind of stuff came to me. So, and I would say Bobby also definitely, like he knows exactly what we're trying to do. So he's a big part of that. And it just took time, and I'm really happy with it now, and it's really good. I'm really happy for what people are gonna hear.
Talk to me a little bit more about this upcoming EP, because you know, people got crazy when they heard Insert Here. I feel like you had a lot of attention from a lot of big publications as well. So, you know, how different or how similar is this upcoming EP?
I would say it's definitely more alternative. Okay. It has more of an alternative, slower, you know, vibier type, you know, I don't know how to, you know, like the flow of the music and the flow of the tracks together in the EP. It's going to be more of like a story, I would say. It's not as much a bunch of songs put together in an EP. Not saying that Insert Here was that, but it's definitely a lot. There's a lot of thought going into this EP, and there's a lot of, you know, time and effort going into these songs that they're more like kind of, there's live instruments, guitar, drums, piano. It's not as much 808s and bass and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Now, because Bobby kind of comes more from a hip hop type of world, do you feel like you've challenged him because you're having him incorporate these new like rock alternative types of sounds?
That's an interesting question. I've never really thought of it like that. Yeah, I would say probably a little bit. Yeah, definitely. I feel like we both challenge each other. I feel like, you know, him and me, like going back and forth in the studio and just working together, we're both growing from it. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a growth process for the both of us.
What do you think was the biggest challenge in creating this upcoming EP?
I would say kind of going back to the certain times, and not really in my life, but, you know, kind of like just reminiscing on things to draw up these stories and draw up this like emotion to really get into this kind of mood for this music. That might have been the most difficult thing. And also just, you know, making sure that we're not compromising like, you know, the tempo of music. You know, sometimes like if something gets too slow, it can like become boring. You know, you know, like that's just how music works sometimes. And, you know, it's probably just, there's a lot of stuff going on in it. So yeah.
So the new single, Blue and Gray, drops July 12th.
Yes.
And then we have the EP sometime this summer. You're looking for a summer type of release?
I was looking for August, but honestly, it's probably going to be September or October at the latest, around there. It's going to be more of a fall, you know. So I feel like it's very fitting for that time of the year. Are you being hard on yourself as far as like which songs are going to be on there because you still want to kind of create more songs for it? There's definitely it's definitely a lot of that because I want to make sure that we're putting a lot of stuff behind the EP. Like me and like my manager and my team, like we're really putting a lot into this EP, and like we really think this is going to be a very well-made body of music. So I want to make sure that it's all hitters and no filler, you know what I mean? As people say, like I want to make sure that every song I'm happy with and that the fans are happy with and people can enjoy, and not put something out that I might be second guessing just because I need something out.
Rush it out. So for those that are not too familiar with you, what is it about music that you chose to make it your career path? Like, I mean, you're not from LA, so you know that coming out to LA was going to be a challenge already.
Definitely, yeah. I would say that what I got out of music growing up is why I really decided to do music, because I've had a lot of opportunities to do a lot of type of things in my life, like in fashion and, you know, just any other, you know, many other fields. You know, you're young, you can do a lot of things, but I really chose this because growing up, I got so much out of music, like what it made me, you know, what it made me as a person and what it helped me get through. And just what it's done for me over time. Like I can tell you like songs I liked when I was like 14 and songs I liked when I was like 17. And like all of my friends growing up, we were all so into like this music, fashion type scene, you know, and like that's what we were obsessed with and we just really enjoyed it. So I would say it's mostly for what it gave me as a person, like what it helped me become.
Sick, well, congratulations with the music. I can't wait for this upcoming EP. Thank you. You guys be sure to check out Kindergarten. New single, Blue and Gray, is out July 12th, and thanks for watching on Front Row Live.